Welcome to Relaxing with Watercolor. I'm Anna, and today I'm really excited to share a Synthscape tutorial with you. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. As always, if you'd like to paint along, just remember to check the video description for a list of materials. Okay, so just a little bit about synthscapes. I don't know if that's actually a genre of art, but synthwave is a genre of music, and it's closely tied to the aesthetic of bright neon colors and geometric shapes and a futuristic feel. So that's what this landscape is going to be all about. We're going to do that with watercolor. And it's actually, I think watercolor lends itself really well to this aesthetic because things are nicely blended. The only thing is I'm going to need some help getting some nice clean lines. To create those clean lines, I'm using washi tape to frame up my watercolor paper like I normally do. And then I also made this triangle to create clean lines for the road that we're going to paint. I also want to have a planet in the top center of this painting, so I want to make sure that I don't get any watercolor in that area. So to have that clean circle, I've layered some washi tape here, and then I'm just going to cut a circle out from that using my X-Acto knife. And I really hope you have a sharper X-Acto knife than I do because this one's really crappy and it's kind of a hack job, but that's okay. And there we go. The struggle is real, but we got there. So now on to the fun part, the painting. And just a quick note on color while I'm setting up my paints. As I was reviewing different pieces of synthwave art, I noticed that a triad of colors is typically used. So like 3 different colors. In our painting today, it's hot pink, orange, and purple. And if you use more colors, it's not like gonna look bad. It's just, I know when I've experimented with that, it tends to look overdone and doesn't quite hit that synthwave aesthetic. So if that's what you're going for, I would recommend using probably 3 colors. To start our painting today, I'm going for a nice base layer of hot pink. I have quite a bit of water loaded on my brush. This is my larger brush, and I think I'll also do a bit of orange over the top of that. So we have this nice blended look, and you'll notice the strokes that I'm doing are following the contours of the triangle. So either going from the bottom up diagonally or from the top down diagonally. And to add some clean texturing detail, I'm taking a scrap piece of watercolor paper and just making some lines here. As you see, it's lifted the color, so you have these really subtle, straight white lines. And I'm going to take a moment here to tape off my horizon line, which I forgot to do at the beginning. Oops. And to do this, I'm just making sure the top of the tape is level with the top of the triangle. Now for the sky, I'm going to do purple to pink to orange. And to do this, I'm going to start with this pink strip in the center and move it up a little bit, and then take the purple, start at the top and work it down a little bit. And then eventually I'll take the orange and work from the bottom of that horizon line up into the pink. So you end up with this nice, smooth, blended color. Next, I'm going to pick up that thick, sturdy piece of watercolor scrap paper that I was using before, and I'm going to, again, use this to add some clean texturing lines, this time moving it horizontally, and I'm going to go up and down our sky and try to space them pretty evenly. And this is one of my favorite parts, removing the tape to reveal those beautiful clean lines we've created. And don't worry about that irregular bit at the top. We're actually going to work that into the painting. And with a nice concentration of pink on my brush, I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said, work that irregular bit into the painting, and that's becoming the top of our cliffs there, these desert cliffs. And I want this road to be going into a tunnel, so I'm gonna paint a semicircle right over the top of that triangle point. And from here, I'm just gonna try to add a little texture by dabbing the brush vertically, and then we'll add a little water to the mix and start to bring that color line down a bit. And you'll notice as I'm bringing the color line down, I'm also tapering it off to the side of the paper to run parallel to the lines in our road. And we want to leave a white gap between the road and the color line on the edge because we're going to do some additional ink detailing. All right, I'm really loving the look and feel of this painting. I like the colors. It's giving synthwave aesthetics. So I'm going to let this dry and then we'll get to those ink details. All right, thanks to the power of recording, my painting is now completely dry, so I'm gonna start on my ink detailing. So I've got my black artist pen, and the first thing I'm going to do is basically make an outline in this tunnel and also preserve the tippy top of the triangle as well. And we're just gonna fill in the rest of it with black. And for this piece, I want the road to look like it's sunken into a canyon. So to create that effect, I'm going to outline those irregular color lines we created on each side of the road, and these will become the tops of each side of the canyon. To create the canyon walls, I'm adding texturing lines, and I'm running them from the top of that canyon line diagonally down toward the side of the road at about a 60-degree angle. And of course, we'll add those texturing lines to both sides of the canyon. And you'll notice I'm trying to space them pretty evenly, but we're gonna go around again and add more lines between those spaces. So eventually the space between the lines is gonna be so imperceptible that you shouldn't really have to worry about even spacing. I'm also going to outline the edge of the road. Not only does this give some depth and definition to our road and our canyon, but it does close up those rough edges that we created from adding the texturing lines. And as I mentioned earlier, I am going to go back in and add more texturing lines to the white spaces. I think I added probably about 3 lines per white space. And then as I got closer to the tunnel, I jammed in a few more lines because it, helps with the shading. If you're adding more lines, it's going to look darker, which makes sense if you're getting closer to the tunnel. All right, our canyon wall texturing is done. I'm going to go ahead and add in the horizon line. Now this is a little bit irregular because I'm working with a rock face here. And then I'll just add in a few more lines to separate our big old rocks from one another and add a little visual interest. There we go. And I do want to go over the top of the canyon wall just one more time. I just think it needs a little definition. And finally, we're going to move on to our planet. I'm just going to outline the existing circle that's already there. And from here, we're just going to make some, I don't know, little squiggles and dots and lines. There's no right or wrong. Planets are really fun to do. I feel like no matter what you do, they end up looking really cool. And I do like that it's black and white. I think it plays really nicely with the neon colors and promotes that high contrast that you're looking for in synthwave art. And while I'm finishing up this piece, I just want to take a minute to say thanks so much for creating with me today. I hope you've enjoyed this Synthscape tutorial, and I'd be interested to hear any comments or thoughts you have about Synthscape. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like the content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for joining me today. Until next time, take care.